Did somebody say mystery guest?
Good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Vu here. I'm going to be doing a segment today called Spooky Science. Because as you know, in a few days, it'll be Halloween. And I know you're excited to get dressed up and trick-or-treat and have parties. And you may run into things that may seem pretty scary, but I'm here to tell you that you don't have to be scared because a lot of that stuff is just science. So we're going to talk about those things in a little bit. But before we do, some of you know that when Halloween comes around, there is a special person that shows up in the science room. And on the count of three, you guys are going to help me because I think you know who it is, right? So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3. That's right, it's Mr. Boo.
I'm kind of a big deal, you know.
All right, friends, so as you know, you've probably seen these very spooky cauldrons of bubbling juice. Well, it looks really hot, doesn't it? But in reality, it's the complete opposite. So since it's really, really, really cold, I'm going to need some goggles. Okay, much better. All right, so now that we have this, so what is exactly happening in this little cauldron of boiling, bubbling smoke? I'm going to need a container. And I'm going to need some water. So I'm going to add some water to this so you can see it's just plain regular water. And what's causing all of that smoke that you're seeing is actually a solid piece of ice. Not any regular ice. We have dry ice. And I have some right here underneath my table. So here's a big chunk of it. And when I put it in, as you can see, there's a little bit of steam or fog coming off of it. And the reason that's happening is because this is actually a solid piece of carbon dioxide that's been frozen. And I'm going to put it in. Now it's getting hot. And as it gets hot, these pieces of ice release that gas back into the air. And I don't know if you can see that, but you can hear it too. It's bubbling a little bit. And you can see the smoke coming out of there, just like the cauldron. So while this is not that scary, you still have to be careful because this ice is very, very cold. Alright friends, now we have our cauldron, and did you know that you can also do something else that's kind of spooky? So we can create a crystal bubble ball using some everyday items. So I have my dry ice in here, and what I'm going to need is a glass of soapy water and a shoelace. So, snap. Alright, here we go. I have my shoelace soaking in some soapy water, and all I did was pour some water and add some dish soap to this, and all you do is you take your string and you run it across the top of your cauldron, and as you can see, it starts to grow. Looks like a brain, doesn't it? But what's inside is just gas that's been trapped, and it's going to continue to grow until that bubble can't hold it anymore. We'll just pretend this is the pumpkin's brain, and when it pops, it'll all spill over.
Man, science takes forever sometimes.
Anytime. Oh, there we go. It just popped. Alright, so that was number 2. Alright, now we're going to try something else. Hope you guys can see I have something new. They call this vampire veins. And as you can see, there are these long green streams. And as you can imagine, they're probably red inside, full of blood, right? But right now, you can kind of see they're green. So I'm going to borrow a flashlight real quickly. And we're going to turn it on, and we're going to see if we can turn these green veins into red veins. I don't know if you can see all that blood inside. Ew. But guess what, friends? You don't have to be worried. They're not really veins. They're just a special type of slime.
Of course they're just slime, Mr. Boo. I wasn't scared.
So I'll show you how to make it. Alright, I will need a cup of water, a special solution, and some powder. Thank you. Alright, so in this cup of water, it's 3/4 cups full. I've added a scoop of this special activator, okay? And I've just taken 1 full scoop of this little white powder, and I poured it in, and I've stirred it up, and now it's dissolved, meaning it's completely combined with the water. And then, what I have next is this special string slime, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this into it. And as you can see right now, it's a liquid, right? It's kind of a reddish-green liquid. But when we pour it in and it touches that activator, it's going to turn into a solid like this. Are you ready? Here we go. Alright. Now that I've poured it in, I'm just going to lift this up so you can see. There it is. Vampire vein, which is really a type of slime. Nothing to be afraid of. Alright, friends. Hope you're not too spooked out yet. Here we go. We're going to do another thing real quickly. This is called witch's snot. Alright, friends. I have something in this little container. It's called witch's snot. This witch must have had a cold. Because as you can see, it's very, very, very stretchy. So again, you don't need to be too afraid or creeped out by this thing, because all this is really just slime. And slime is when you mix...
All this slime is making me hungry.
And slime is when you mix certain materials to create a polymer. And a polymer is any material that is linked together. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this. So we have a couple of special ingredients. I have a cup that I'm going to use to mix it in. And it's got some measurement on the cup to help me do this. We're going to use 2 ounces of a super slime solution. Here you go. And as you can see, it's already green. And I'm going to use a activator, a little clear activator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little blue scoop, because I'm going to need 2 scoops of the activator to do this. So I'll need 2 ounces of this green solution. So I'm going to fill it up to 2 ounces. And it's a liquid, as you can see, very, very wet and squishy. And then I'm going to add another liquid, 2 spoonfuls of this. Remember, boys and girls, never eat this stuff. It's not good for you. Alright. And all you do is put a lid on this container, shake it up for 50 seconds. And when you're done, those 2 liquids will mix and turn into this witch's snot, as you can see. Again, nothing to be afraid of. This is just science at work. Alright. Let's move on to another spooky thing. Do you guys hear that sound? Sounds like an alien, doesn't it? But don't worry, it's not an alien. We actually have a science explanation for that too. So I'm going to grab a tube. So this is a sound tube. And my first graders know what this does. When you swing it in the air goes through the holes. And as it goes through the holes, it vibrates along the length of this tube. And as it does that, it creates that eerie sound that you just heard. Ready to hear it? I'll do it again. You notice the faster I spin it, the higher the sound is, right? So, science at work again. Speaking of sounds, I've got one more thing to share with you. I want you to listen. It's a witch's screech. But I also have an explanation for that too. All it is a balloon with a little metal nut in there, okay, or a little hex nut. So all I did was I put a little metal object inside of this balloon. Nothing sharp because you don't want to pop it. And you blow up your balloon and tie it. And when you do, you have a little solid object inside the balloon that when you spin it, it'll move around and around. So take a look. You guys see the object moving around? And that's what's causing the sound that you're hearing. So nothing to be afraid of, but it does sound spooky, doesn't it? Alright, we have finally one more thing to do. I have some ghost poop that I've collected. So give me 1 second, we're going to find some ghost poop. Yes. I'm going to need some water. Thank you. And I'm going to need some ghost poop. Alright, nice bag full of ghost poop. The nice thing about ghosts is that they hang around, but they disappear, okay? And so one of the nice things about ghost poop is that you can put it into water and make it disappear. I also need a spoon, so let me grab a spoon real quickly. And we're going to add a couple of these ghost poops into my container of water and just push it under and stir it around. And we're going to make this disappear. So I'm going to stir it for a few seconds.
Meanwhile, Mr. Bing continues to stir for 3 hours straight.
Alright. Abracadabra. Presto changeo. The ghost poop is gone. It is dissolved into the water. No longer there. But friends, as you know, this is really not ghost poop. It's just basically a starchy peanut. And this peanut can dissolve in water, just like if you put something in your mouth, like a piece of candy, and it dissolves in your mouth. So nothing to be afraid of. And we have finally one more thing I wanted to do real quickly to show you. I have a container of water. We are going to put inside of it some body parts. Okay, I have a hand, an ear, a nose, a foot, and my favorite, a brain. So I wonder, what do you think will happen? What prediction do you have? If we leave these things in here for a little while, what do you think is going to happen to them? Alright, I heard some ideas. So we're going to find out in a little bit, okay? So, friends, again, my message to you is have a great, fun, safe Halloween this year. And let's talk about it when you come back with Mr. Vu. Have a great Halloween. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Science isn't scary, it's awesome. Have a happy Halloween.